Welcome on to another video, and today we're looking at the Aegean series episode 1. Now, like I said in my new series video, I was working on it for a day, and it's the same day that I'm recording this as I planned. And that's it that I want to say. Let's get into this video because I don't know how much time I have left. So let's get into this. Over the course of a few hundred years, many different species have tried and failed at the possibility of becoming a sapient species and becoming the threshold of strength. Being on the threshold of being a very technological people and species. But only one will come out of this, and those are the Onagans, not the Aegean. The Onagan people who will be coming out of the Onagi, who are a different type of monkey that will split into 3 different groups. A main one that goes down the same route, but eventually it dies out. Then there's the monkey route that actually is quite successful, and then there's this sapien one, which is also quite successful. And we quickly see in the following months, many of these people will start to explore around these areas, finding that the lands are quite vast, and they find out that this area is quite a good area to live in, as it's quite vast, allows them for a lot of water access. And they do see quite far into the sea because their height and that, but they do not manage to see a lot. They do manage to reach over to these peninsulas, and they do manage to take them over. And even some further explorations take a large inspiration from pushing very far into unknown areas. That was told by one of the elders, who kind of said, if you get to one of these areas, then do not allow this menace of a people to stop you from achieving the goal of exploration. You will be known for your valor. And very many do want the glory of being a explorer, but we quickly see that the glory of it will be quite kind of hard to grasp, as many people don't see point in glory. But quickly we see that these people are very how do I say, very pushy around these areas, and we see that 3 different tribes form. Initially 2 form, but then a 3rd forms. We see the red team, the red tribe, who quickly takes over this peninsula over here, and they also push the lands over here, where they take over these areas, stopping around here, and now they have quite this large area. Now, the way I made this continent stuff was by using clouds, and then I just shipped away at the centers of those big black areas. Please kill me. Just kill me. But we see that these areas were made by me with a very special way of making them. And we quickly see that in tandem a blue nation will form, although it's pretty large and pretty centralized. It does suffer from people not very much abiding by the main rulers rules. And we also see this a last tribe coming into existence. This is the yellow tribe, who comes into existence very early on, but that's like a few months after these guys have already gotten established. We said that the first expansion will be done by the blues, who will send out expansion parties to take over all of these areas, and they will take over a large amount of land, seeking to make their own nation, well, not nation but people, one of the greatest in the world. While seeing this, the red team has already done so too, and they have, instead of going south, gone up north, where we see they have taken the opportunity to land some of their people over here, although these people will be stuck for the better part of history. Well, not better part, but until ships are better and then they are stuck there. But we see that, oh my god, I don't know what's causing this huge amount of lag. Is my map just so big? It's taking so much time. Like, it is around 16k by 16k, so yeah. But after all of this, we see a large conflict between these two tribes will emerge when the red team accuses the blue people of doing bad to its own people, and they quickly launch a large tribal raid against these regions, taking over a large swath of territory and quickly pushing out anyone who tries to push them back. Now over here they do manage to kill everyone who was in this peninsula and was trapped over here, but they were stalled over here for quite a while, allowing for the blues to actually launch a counterattack. Now it's not a counterattack in the main sense, but because these are still tribes, but we see that this tribal attack over here will do the same to the raids that was done to them, and the raids will see that only a small bit of their captured territory will remain theirs, and they will take this over, and eventually this conflict will end. During this conflict, we see that the yellow team has made a bit of gains. After they saw that the blue team is not going north, they decided to go north themselves, cutting off the blue team in the process, as we quickly see that in the process of expansion, they kind of expanded a bit too far east, and they kind of cut off the blue team from going north, which is okay by the blue team standards. They don't really care about the north, because the north is where the red team goes, and the red team is not cool, so yeah. Also, if you're not red team, we are okay with you. It's just kinda same people, same language, just racism against each other. And we quickly see, after all of this, a few more things will happen, where we see a large sum of people start to push down south, and this is done by both the red team and the blue team. But the red team finds many things first, and they quickly decide that this will be where they live for the rest of their lives. Even over here they find out about this weird peninsula, which is kind of weird. There's a river going from here that enters this larger lake, but it's kind of cut off from these areas, and these are also parts where the peninsula in low tide kind of gets connected, so it's a bit of a weird region. But we see that explorations so far have been quite successful until they are stopped by the sheer size of the exploration groups being unable to sustain themselves once food supplies ran out. And once food supplies ran out, they were kind of fish in a bowl. We also see that the blue team does manage to go down south, although they do so in many ways. They do find out about this bay and quickly seize its territories, but not before going a lot down south more. And as we see, these two areas are explored quite deeply, and eventually a bit better technology in the terms of boating will allow for many of these areas to quickly take over some of these regions. Not these areas take over these regions, but the people are able to sail amongst these areas. And after this island over here is discovered with its twin island in the south, it is generally recognized that if these two kind of met down over here, it would be a kind of a disaster. And it is, as we see, the red team has been too focused on their northern expansion to care much about their southern expansion, which I can say is still very relevant. And as we can see, wait, I'm gonna have to do a few things real quick. We quickly see that the red team has taken the areas it's sought to take, although it did so at a large cost, as a lot of its manpower was used to do so, and even some of these islands will be taken over. While they were doing that, the blue team was gathering its forces, and in a one large push manages to get a lot of people out into these regions where it is mostly hostile and mostly dangerous for the people, but the forces that arrive to help these people start to settle, to help them settle down and protect them, these forces are very much welcome. And quickly we see the first nation comes out of this blue team people, who quickly decides that it is time for a lot to be done. As we see, this blue nation over here will come into existence, but I will change its color to a cyanish blue, and we see that due to its existence being this large, we see that it manages to become what is like Carthage, but Phoenician, I think. Yeah, Phoenician Carthage, where they take over this bay and start to build their society around this, and their capital too. And eventually the capital becomes where they live, and most of them are. And quickly the news of a nation being quite powerful reaches these areas, where we see even these areas that kind of didn't want to become a nation, deciding that, it would be better if we did this, so let's just do it. And these two areas also become nations, although they do have many problems. As we see, this one quickly falls into rebellion, as the southern people are a bit different from the more northern guys, who see themselves as many leagues ahead of the southern guys, and so they decide to take them with them. But these southern guys were also a part of this guy's people down south, as the blue team has split into the northern and southern blue teams, who aren't yet two different tribes. But we quickly see that it will cause a lot of difference between the two tribes, and we do see that in the civil war, this rebellion over here, a large amount of the southern blue team people who are very different. Also, I'm gonna say that these guys are like lizardmen, but their features are more different depending on the region. We also see that after this nation is forced back so much, they lose this much land, but also do manage to gain a bit of it back. That's down south, where they kind of gain some land, but also had to lose some because of these guys kind of wanting these lands. And once they manage to retake some of their lands through diplomacy, these guys decide to go up north and start expansions over in these regions. Now, expansionary countries are seen as very bad countries over here, because where the red team is very expansionist, the blue team is anti-expansion, but it has to expand to not be outclassed by those guys. And we quickly see it becomes very different. But in a surprising shock of events, a red team person will see the prosperity of those nations that are of the blue team, and will gather the local red team to start a nation of their own. Now, this nation is quite small and is unable to unify itself into one large nation, which will not be a problem, as we see them quickly taking over areas with the help of the southern country that is their ally, and they quickly just take over these areas. with their homeland also deciding to become a different nation too, just so they can just do the stuff that they want to do. And we'll quickly see that after all of this, the red team will become very expansionist, and after its first moves are done and its nations are born, we see that the second conflict will start when these red team forces start to invade into, well, these areas. Yeah. We quickly see that after the taking of these areas is done, a lot of these forces over here will push towards these nations over here, seeking to hold them off until they manage to do a lot. But meanwhile they were doing that, the yellow team over here was consolidating its power and making a very large strong nation that quickly made a lot of people here kind of weirded out. Even some blue team force people decided to join this, even though they are not yellow team people. They will kind of bring down the stability over here, which will not be minded as the stability is still small, so people don't really see the consequences of such things. Oh, now that's why I don't like that. And that thing is known as this that I'm doing right now, because it's kind of weird. But we see that making these borders will be kind of beneficial for the blue team, as they are able to call upon the yellow team to help them. And we quickly see yellow team troops cross these areas over here and start engaging in combat with the red team, who quickly is pushed back to this area over here and has their lands over here pushed back. Well, over here we see a liberatory force of a few hundred I was about to say brown guys, I'm not gonna be saying that again. But we quickly see that the Orange Nation sends its forces down over here to take these areas over, and what becomes known as the first battle of the ages will be known to happen over here. And it will begin with the first founding country of these areas for being taken over and then annexed into the yellow team empire, who quickly manages to send its forces into these areas, taking over the nation over here down south. And after they do that, they quickly just annex the lands that they got from this war, and they quickly start oppressing the red people. But due to the red people being so large and so definitive in these regions, they are being pushed out of these areas, and even a rebellion sparks, bringing down their stability even more. But due to this rebellion and being let go, and then another rebellion that seek the same thing, to get away from the blue team, this guy was this time annexed by the green team, and these guys were like, yo, if another rebellion comes at us and it's because of these areas down here, we will declare war on you. And once that rebellion hits, it kind of becomes very apparent that these guys are doing this on purpose to bring down these guys who they see as enemies of the nation and their people. And once these guys take over all of this, they send their forces over here to deal with the red team, who are being pummeled by the nations over here, seeing as they are having a hard time doing a lot of anything. But this rebellion over here actually managed to do some stuff, as the blue team also didn't want to be very much controlled by another different people. And we quickly see that it spires into these areas, just kinda, yeah, declaring independence. The quickly asserting Lime team will actually start taking over these areas, and even will declare a bit of annexation of territory along these borders, But the most annexations they have done is to take over these areas which were actually abandoned by the Orange team once they found out that these areas didn't really much like them. And that kind of didn't help the stability. Also, these two united after a bit of stuff happened, and this Cyan country of the red team decided that it would be better to start doing a lot more than just sitting around on your butt and doing nothing. So they send out people to start taking over lands, and they quickly become the #1 nation, seeing as their nation is quite large and quite powerful. And seeing as this nation is nearing 30 minutes, we'll see another thing happen to this world. And that is a meteorite will fall upon these lands, and it will hit a very specific place, which is known as the point of no return, and that is over here. Because if you go over here, there's no returning back, no coming back from this area means not surviving, and not surviving means sudden death. And oh my god, what happened over here? What happened over here? Oh god, oh god. We do see that this will cause another other island to pop up, but this time it will cause a bit of a tsunami that will sink. Well, not sink, but it will do something over here. And we quickly see that after a lot of this area got kind of flooded, a prophet came from the waters, as it said, and this prophet calls himself the prophet who begins to talk, and that's his name. That's what he calls himself. He quickly takes over these 3 islands, calling these 3 the Holy Trinity, and he will protect these areas with his life until the end. In addition, we see a lot of new nations coming into existence. With this one also, this Venetian color that I kind of got from not another nation, that is from another part of my Vixo, but from another different Wixo series entirely. We quickly see that this will also cause all of these nations to do a lot of stuff over here, and we quickly see some of these nations will be quite small, while others will be just monstrous in the size. And well, I couldn't say really much how large these guys would be or how many there would be of them, but an accurate guess would be around a few dozen nations kind of pop up over here. While the red team is focusing on a one nation policy, everyone else is like, those who get to make a nation first are the rulers of this land, and that's their mentality. They just say it. And like I said before, there are truly monstrous nations out there. Indeed, there are, and not only are there monstrous nations, there are even some very weird ones, like this one that decides to very much, yes, be a large nation, but it does not have an army. It has kind of an army, but it doesn't have an army. It's just volunteer. Everyone's volunteer. No one's like there for the war, for the conscription thing. They don't get conscripted. They're just called up to fight or just train since they're young. Can I put something over here? Oh, thank you so much. But I think with these areas done, we can get back to some stuff that we were doing before. We see that further exploration is done. Wait, let me just get back to this. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba. Can I please? Yeah. So we see further exploration down south continues on until the blue team reaches a certain point. Where they're like, yo, this may not be pretty good for us. And okay, that was not expected. Actually, you know what? I can just yeah, it works. But eventually, we see a large group of blue team people decides to break away from the main blue team and go over here, where they take over these regions and start to settle them, quickly taking over as much land as possible, seeking to take as many lands under the name to become stronger and stronger, and eventually even surpass their own father country. And we quickly see that these people will become the Cyan team, who will be quickly known as the Cyan tribe, as they call themselves the Cyan tribe. Well, not the Cyan tribe, but they are in some similarities to each other. You do see that they are mostly coastal, but the areas that they came from holds a large amount of them inland, so yeah. For the blue team, they actually lose knowledge of this more of the farther south, as they start to focus their efforts on well, the eastern parts of the world, and eventually the knowledge to these areas is lost to time. This is very weird. This is like wait, I think I know what's the problem. Yep. There we go. Now that that is fixed, we can get back to what I was trying to do. But as we can see, these areas are forgotten about, and the blue team kinda doesn't really care about these areas anyway, so why ever think about them? They don't really want to think about these areas. We quickly see that over here, swaths of territory will be discovered, and eventually the coast over here will be reached, with the main goal of this area to be to find out more and more about these lands, to find out where they are on the grand scheme of lands and the territories that they hold. And we quickly see that this is kinda well, yeah. But if we look, these tribes are actually very small, due to that's how small they are on a grand scheme of things. They aren't even damn noticeable. If they like took over the entire area over here, they would be somewhat noticeable. But the only noticeable country out of the already few that you can see, like the most noticeable, is the blue guys. No cap, I just see them the most. Another play on words, I should not say. But we quickly see yellow troops will also push north and even east, seeking to do the same as the blue team. And with the help of the blue team, we see that they will go up the coasts over here, finding out more and more about these areas, and quickly even advancing into lands that they haven't yet discovered for themselves even. There are some boats over here that were constructed a bit early, discovered these areas, but quickly forgot where they were, and they discovered these areas, but then these areas were undiscovered, so it kind of plays into the grand scheme of things. But we quickly see that in the largest claim of a land I can say has ever happened in Vixo. Maybe not the largest claim, but the largest amount of land ever taken by one people in a Vixo scenario is about to be taken. As we see, a large amount of pixels will be taken, and minus the areas that I'm right now using to highlight this, the whole region over here totals up to around 12,000 pixels, and this is like all at once, being like, yo, I want this land, now I'm just gonna get this land. And quickly we see that the blue team becomes quite large. Should have just made this the nation thing, but and the tribe that kinda hates them is now like, yo, they kinda chunky. You know what? Maybe we should also become quite chunky. While they were doing that, the yellow team here, as we can see, has been doing a lot of stuff. What stuff in particular? Well, they have expanded their lands, they have expanded everything they have. Oh my, I'm not even gonna fix this. If possible, you know what, I'm just gonna have to fix it. I'm gonna have to. Oh, it was only for their God kill me. Oh, that gave me a huge relief boost. But we see that from the yellow expansion, people will break off and form the pink people, who are very warrior culture, but also come from a large line of hunters, which kind of explains their fanaticism for hunting. But as we can see, going up north is the way for these guys, and these guys over here, having not explored a lot, will send out their own people to explore any areas they can. But over here they meet harsh resistance from the local wildlife, and they decide to actually avoid them until they reach the waters over here, secretly keeping the information from other people except their own, of course, because why not tell your own people and not tell everyone else? That is like super good thing to do. Well, we quickly see their expansion over here does not stop, as they quickly send another large party over here, now focused on the coast. And these guys quickly find out about a lot of coastal regions over here, although these are not very much more valuable than they already seem to be. Some of these will actually become important areas in the future, as we will see a lot of things happen. But with the red team having seen a large amount of land being opened straight up for them, and which is basically up for grabs, they will send their forces over here to take over every single bit of land that they can muster into their own nation, and people's tribes and all of that. We quickly see that all of this will come down to three things, and the first thing being expansion quality, quality of life expansion. Sounds like an expansion pack for a game, but I'm saying that the people over here want very good qualification. Want very good living conditions to live in, and we quickly see that this kind of spires over to everyone else. But the Reds will take this to a step further, as they will use the pretext of fishermen being the ones to make the most gains out of the society. as like a propaganda. Basically, this is tell people like, if you become a fisherman in these new areas we discovered and fish the hell out of these regions, I will personally pay you $500. What was that? Well, good, those are gone. And I think I've already exceeded the limit for this video, so I'm gonna end this video on the note that the red team finally managed to expand, and they're now very large with their very own things to do. And once they get already this big, they are just bound to become larger. And if we look, they are larger than even the blue team themselves. And this will be in the end of the video. If you guys liked the video, please pick up the stone that is the like button and throw it at the subscribe button that is the tree. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.